Hey, Christine Faulkner with Cava&Faulkner, Elk Grove and Sacramento Living Trust and Estate Lawyer. And today you are tuning in for another edition of Catching Up with Christine. Thanks so much for following us. And let's jump right in. So stay tuned to the end because we're going to talk about how sometimes even people in the legal profession don't make great choices when it comes to estate planning. So stay tuned because you're going to learn, number one, what you need to do to get the outcome you want in estate planning. Number two, what you need to do to make sure that your family is not out of in fear and ends up in court. Number three, what not to do to make sure that your family is protected. And number four, how to make sure your family knows or your beneficiaries know really how much you care. So let's jump right in. So those in the legal profession, those of us who have gone to law school, we're lawyers, judges, we all tend to think that we're qualified to do it all. But really, when you think about it, going to a specialist is what most people want. That's what we do when we go to the doctor. If we have a specific problem going on, we want to see a specialist. The same thing is true in the legal world. You know, specialists handle those specialized areas, which means that their area of expertise and competence it's narrow. It's necessarily narrow, but it's deep. So that's a good thing. So working with an estate planning attorney gives you control. And after all, really, isn't that what estate planning is about? It is about giving you the control to do as much as you can within your power, working and partnering with a professional to have the outcome that you want. And truth be told, while much of this seems like an intellectual exercise, thinking what you need to write and what your plan needs to say, it is also a deeply heartfelt exercise as well, because the truth is, this is about leaving a real legacy for your family, and that requires intention and precision. And deciding to do it yourself, even if you're a lawyer, really is fraught with some danger. So danger, what is it? Will Robinson. So for those of you in the baby boomer generation, you know what that means, what that's from. Be really careful. You're treading through landmines if you decide to do it yourself. Number two, if you decide to do it yourself, or maybe you worked with an estate planning attorney initially and decide if you have some minor changes, you're going to do that yourself, maybe in a handwritten amendment or a typewritten amendment, be very, very careful because language in estate planning, every single word matters. And believe it or not, a little minor mistake can open up the door to huge consequences, negative consequences for your family. Those consequences, if there's ambiguity in your plan, can end them up in court and conflict. And I'll tell you, being a past litigator, what that means in real life for people is there's a lot of fear involved in ending up in court. Most lay people, they don't have any experience being in court. It's a scary thing. It's the kind of thing that will keep you up at night if you have to go to court not knowing what is going to happen. And of course, the expense and the time investment associated with going to court is also a huge disservice to your beneficiaries, when in reality, you can be careful in your approach to estate planning, which is to always partner with an estate planning professional rather than doing it yourself, even if you are a lawyer. Because like I said, this is all about your heart. It is about wanting to create the outcome, the loving outcome for your family, not ending them up in court because you decided to do an amendment to your plan on your own. And there was ambiguity, and so now all of the beneficiaries of your plan are arguing. They've lawyered up, they're digging into their pockets to pay lawyers to represent their interests, to interpret the document that you have either drafted or tinkered with. So number three, don't do it yourself. Even if it is an amendment, take the time to work with a seasoned professional who can really help you understand the outcome that you're looking for and carefully draft that language into your document. So the beauty of working with an estate planning attorney is not only are they actually putting out a product, right, which is the trust or the will, so you have something tangible in writing, and they're applying their legal expertise to precisely draft that language, but you're also getting the benefit of their guidance about the impact, the outcome of that language, right? So it's not just the language, but what does it mean, and how will that be interpreted later? Is there wiggle room for interpretation? And if so, maybe you want to close that gap. So those are some of the reasons that working with a professional can be really beneficial. Number 4, and probably in my mind, one of the most important things is, how do you create a plan that shows your family or your loved ones or your beneficiaries that you really, really cared, and really just how much you cared about them? Clearly, creating a plan is the first step. Just having the forethought to understand this is an important thing I need to do for them. I need to make things easy and expeditious for them. That's the first step. But if it gets botched, maybe your intention on what your legacy really will not be borne out by what actually happens. So a couple of lessons in all of the things that go into creating a thoughtful plan. It's a lot. But ultimately, in the end, we all want our loved ones to know just how deeply we cared for them by creating a plan that works, by creating a plan that puts us in control of the outcome, that gives us the right outcome that we want, and by making sure that our family is not going to end up in court, is not going to end up digging deep into their own pockets to pay for the litigation expense, and is not going to be stuck with a plan where the assets are tied up in court for years, or where they can't have closure. It's hard enough to lose someone, and then to be invested in litigation for years and years into the future can be a very, very painful thing to experience. So those are some thoughts on do's and don'ts, especially if you are a lawyer or a judge, or you're in the legal profession and feel like you have the know-how to do this yourself. Maybe think twice about that. And again, thanks for tuning in to Catching Up with Christine. Like our content, subscribe to our channel if you like what we've got going on here, and tell us what other material we can create for you, and we're happy to do that. Take care and have a wonderful day.